Okay. So we are talking about identity and access management today. But before that, I'll give you a brief overview of cybersecurity. These days, you might be hearing cybersecurity from so many people on so many platforms. You might be overwhelmed. But some of the basic concepts of cybersecurity are applicable to everyone, even if they are working in IT or even if they are not working in IT. In our day to day life, cybersecurity is playing a big role, and many people are losing their hard earned money because they don't know how to deal with this latest new sophisticated systems and how people can hack their systems. So that's why understanding the basics of cybersecurity is really important, especially people who are planning to work in IT or already working in IT. In every company, there is a emphasis on awareness in terms of security and how to protect your systems and the office systems. Nowadays, most of you are using the online banking. You have a bank account, you transfer the funds, and all these things are happening online. And if we don't pay attention to all these things, we might lose our hard earned money, and our family is going to suffer, not just us. So, few basics of cybersecurity. So, cybersecurity is a system or environment or technology or list of best practices. So, everyone has different definition, but overall, to protect the data. So, every company has a data. You have your own data. So, data in the sense, for example, if my data, if I'm talking about, I have my bank accounts, my passwords, my date of birth, my address, my phone number, my email address. This is my data, and I have to protect this data. And when I am sharing this information to someone else, they have to protect our data. So, for example, I am giving an email address on a Google form. We don't know who that Google form is, who created that. If we don't know, we are not supposed to share. So, protect the data is important. And if I'm giving my phone number to someone and they are just selling my phone number for some money, and I start getting some phone calls, text messages, and these days there is a AI, so people are manipulating the voice as if my son or daughter is calling me, and my phone number is given. That is my first mistake, and things go wrong from there. So we have to understand if we are giving my phone number or email address or anything, how protected it is, how secure it is. That's important. Protecting your computers. So in olden days, we used to have a antivirus software, but these days, most of us don't even care what is security means, what is antivirus means, what is virus means, and how the virus comes. And these days, these all modern gadgets like smartphones, touch screen phones, we are receiving some text message saying that, oh, there is a deal in Emirates, there is a deal in some phone recharge or something. We click on the link. We think we are saving money, but actually we are losing lifetime earnings. So be careful. So protecting the data, protecting the computers, information, irrespective of it's online or it's offline. So 99% of the times, this all happens online, but offline also something goes wrong because even if my computer, my phone is not connected to network, I save something. By the time when I connect it, I'm going to see disasters happening. Example, one person recently did a practical, uh, what is it? So what he did is he turned off his phone and he was just roaming around outside. And he came home, and he is a computer genius. So he connected some kind of a proxy server, and any data going out of his phone will be going through the proxy server. So he connected his phone through a proxy server to the internet. And when he turned on his phone, everything, all activities, whatever he did outside, it is being uploaded to the phone company. It may be Apple, or it may be like AT&T or some phone provider. So overall, these smart devices are working even if they are offline. That's what I mean to show here. That is the simple example I was trying to demonstrate. Cyber attacks are mostly happen online, but in certain, as I mentioned, they can happen offline too. So cybersecurity aims to protect the individuals like us, organizations like our companies. So even if you are not working for a IT job, for example, someone is working like a manager in municipal corporation, someone is working as a teacher in a school, they might harm their organization. Their job is not IT job, but if they do some mistake, things will go wrong. So for example, there is a teacher and the teacher is saving all the students' information in a computer, and teacher is not an IT expert. Teacher is not working in IT, but saving all the students' information in a computer. And if that computer gets hacked, all the student information is gone. Student information, their parent information, maybe their parents' account information. We don't know how many things are going wrong there. So every person, no matter what kind of job they are doing, cybersecurity is important. Individuals, organizations, and systems, applications, computing devices, everywhere there is a data, and it's a sensitive data, financial data, sensitive data. So we have to be careful whatever we are doing. And the minimum is a virus and the maximum is a ransomware. I don't know how many people know the term ransomware. Ransomware means someone is going to hack your computer and they say, give me $5 million. Otherwise, I'm going to reveal all the parents' data, all the parents' account numbers to the common public. And the school has to do something. They have to pay the money. Otherwise, they will lose their reputation. Just a simple example. A successful cybersecurity approach has a multiple layers of protection. Spread across multiple computers, networks, programs, data that intend to keep safe. So the cybersecurity approach means they have to protect your systems in so many different levels. So for example, each computer has its own antivirus software. Each computer has some kind of a VPN to connect to any foreign networks. Each computer has to go through a proxy if they are communicating with a client or your vendor or some other company. And there will be firewalls across your networks, and those firewalls will be open for specific IP address, specific port number, so that not anyone and everyone can access your systems at company level or organization level. So that is multi-level approach. And this multi-level approach has to be reviewed every 3 months, 6 months, or every month or every week, depending upon how complex your system is, how complex your organization structure is. So there are so many job opportunities in that area, cybersecurity area, and people are always revising, and revisiting the policies and the procedures in place. In an organization, the people, processes, and technologies must all complement one another to create an effective defense from cyber attacks. So this is the important bullet point here. Protection of your systems is not going to happen just because you have a modern technology or sophisticated technology. That's not enough. If you set up a sophisticated processes, so for example, you have very good manager, very good director, and they are laying out the processes. So every request has to go through approval process. And when we are buying the software, we have to do due diligence of finding out whether that software is safe or not. So those are all processes. Technology means you are buying a sophisticated software from a big company, for example, IBM Corporation. That is not enough. Technology is not enough. Processes are not enough. People are not enough. People means the people who are working in the company, everyone is doing due diligence. They are doing all the cyber security related trainings, and they are following all the protocols, but they all have to be working with each other. That is what complement means. They have to complement. If there is a process, people have to follow. If there are people are following, the processes have to be revised and revisited every periodical, like 1 week or 1 month or 3 months or something. And if the technology is outdated, we have to upgrade the technology. So technology has to be good, processes must be up to date, and people have to be aware and implement the policies. So that's when the organization can defend itself from cyber attacks. As I said before, the same thing again. Who are all part of cybersecurity? People. People means the users. Users means the employees, right? So users must understand and comply with basic data security principles. The simple example is choosing a strong password. If the company says you have to choose a strong password and there is no policy, if there is no policy, I think ABCD is a strong password because there is no policy and ABCD is allowed, right? For example, people are receiving an email and email has an attachment. The attachment has some kind of a bad software. If they click on that email or if they open that software, the company might go bankrupt. So this is where people are going to play important role. They have to be aware of the consequences of each of their actions. And data backup is a separate team. There has to be a team in the company, and the team has to do its job, backing up the data. If it is important files, if they are, for example, in India, people are giving Aadhaar cards. Those Aadhaar cards have to be safeguarded somewhere, and it should not be available to anyone and everyone. If there is a password, and the password has to be encrypted when we are saving. Here in US, there is a social security number, and the social security number has to be encrypted and saved, and no one should be able to just read it by opening the system. And if someone is giving a social security card, it has to be kept safe. So that is important. That is about people. As I said, processes means the organization must have a framework how they deal with both attempted and successful cybersecurity attacks. One well respected framework can guide you. It explains how you can identify attacks, protect systems, detect and respond to threats, recover from successful attacks. So, if there is an attack happening, how to recover from that? That is one way of defining the policies and responding to threats. If there is a threat, we want to know whether the threat is real, whether the threat is just fake or hoax. And before the attack happens, they have to do some kind of a testing. These days, we call it as a penetration testing. So if you have a penetration testing team, sometimes you hire the external consultants who have a lot of experience in that area. All those things will be done by your process. So there has to be a process in the company, and the people who are in the managerial level, director level, top level, VP level, they have to come up with the processes. As I said, strong password is a policy. So they have to come up with a policy system. Minimum password has to be 12 characters, 16 characters. And there has to be at least minimum one or two, what we call special characters. There has to be a number, and your password must not be uh, your name, your username. These are all part of IAM. So cybersecurity and IAM are not two separate entities. Cybersecurity, the IAM is part of cybersecurity. So what I'm explaining here, the process, it's part of IAM, identity and access management. Within identity and access management, you have to deal with the policies. The policies or processes are defined by the top level management, and they have to guide the low level technicians or the programmers or the developers or the testers what kind of company policies they are going to have. For example, if someone is trying to send an email, the email is not supposed to go through if that email is coming from unknown sources. For example, uh, you are working for a bank, so you can accept the emails only from the bank. And the email coming from Gmail or Yahoo or something, we are going to reject it. That's a policy. And it's again a policy of cybersecurity. These policies and processes will be laid out by the top level management of the company. And it is part of cybersecurity. And in terms of technology, technology is essential to giving organizations, individuals, computer systems, tools needed to protect themselves from cybersecurity attacks. So here are the examples. The three main entities must be protected: endpoint devices like computers, smart devices like your touchscreen phones, routers, networks, and the cloud. And the common technology used to protect these entities includes next generation firewalls. So firewall is one technology. DNS filtering is another, malware protection, antivirus softwares, and email security solutions. So just now I was telling about email. Email is the most dangerous thing nowadays. Someone is going to send me an email saying that this email is coming from Bank of America. If I don't look at it properly, I'm going to lose all my information, and they are going to steal all my money from the Bank of America. So that is important. Uh, the firewalls are going to protect uh, from a malicious attack happening from some other company or some other individual to organization, because every organization has their own data, their own servers, their own network, and that network has to be protected using firewalls. So for that, you have to have a sophisticated tools and technologies. These days, everything is cloud. So in cloud has to be protected. uh, One last note point here is, by one estimate, the cyber crime will cost the world $10.5 trillion by next year. It is 2024 already. By next year, it costs $10.5 trillion, even if we are doing all these safeguards and protections, because there are a lot of people who are more genius than people who are laying out these processes. Uh, how these attacks evolved over the period of time. So generation one was the virus. So like 15, 20 years ago, when we started our IT journey, software journey, in those days, virus was really annoying thing. And we used to get virus by clicking some software, watching some free movie, or downloading some software, installing some software. We used to get the virus, and we used to buy antivirus a lot. These days, most of the computers are not using any antivirus. Still, they are safe. Two reasons. Reason number one, the operating system became sophisticated and it is protecting itself. And the second reason is, the people who are trying to attack the systems, they are not interested in our PC computers anymore. They are attacking our smartphones. They are attacking our IoT systems, what we are using at home, like Google Home or Alexa or those kind of systems. They are targeting. So those are the two different reasons why the virus is not a really big issue anymore. Generation 2 was a network attacks. This is where they started developing the firewalls, because there was no firewall once upon a time, and networks were being attacked. So the generation 2 is a network attacks. The third generation is applications. So we used to install some application, download our application. Then we realized this application is causing a lot of problems in my computer because it is a virus. It is coming with a virus. We thought it's a free application. For example, I'm trying to convert a CD drive into MP3 or MP4 or something, and it's a free software. Once I install that software, my computer started freezing, my computer started going down, my computer is not behaving, which means there is a virus. So virus started coming. That is the third generation attacks, applications. And the fourth generation attack is a payload. So what happens is we access some endpoint. So what happens in my phone, someone is sending, oh, there is a deal, Emirates deal. You click on it, it comes with a payload, and that payload is going to ruin my device, my phone or my computer or whatever the device it is. And the generation 5, the latest generation of cyber attacks uses a large scale multi-vector attacks. That is the big problem. So here we have to be really careful, and only one person cannot do anything because they are attacking the large scale multi-vector attack on entire company from so many different ways, so many different sites. So this is where the entire company, entire organization has to work like a team. Uh, some other information about the attacks, because entire cybersecurity deals with the attacks. So what are the different types of attacks that happen in cybersecurity world? Number one is phishing, where uh, phishing is the practice of sending fraudulent emails that resemble emails from reputable sources. The main aim is to steal the sensitive data, like credit card numbers or login or something like that. For example, an email comes to me and the logo looks like Amazon.com. The logo looks like a bankofamerica.com. By looking at the logo, by looking at the contents, I feel, oh, there is some information here. I have to click. It is going to give you some attractive information. It says, oh, your account is hacked. Urgently, you have to click this link and change the password. So you are in hurry, you don't know what happened. You click the link. Once you click the link, it goes to their website. It looks like a Bank of America website or Amazon website. And they say, okay, enter your current password. You enter your current password. Then you say, enter new password. You feel like you are changing the password to protect your system, but actually you are ruining your entire account itself. So that is called phishing. So we have to be really careful, and how to identify phishing. That is another problem, right? When you look at the logo looks something wrong. When you open the website, it may not be HTTPS, it may be HTTP website. Even if it is a HTTPS website, there may be some wrong certificate. You can click on that certificate and see whether that certificate is really issued to Bank of America or Amazon or something else. And most of these emails, because they are doing fraud, they do some kind of a typos, typing mistake, grammatical mistakes. So all these things we have to be really careful, little careful when we are just clicking the links. Social engineering is a tactic that adversaries use to trick you into revealing sensitive information. They can solicit monetary payment to gain access to your confidential data. Social engineering can be combined with any of the threats above and make you. So, as I said, like 3, 4 times I told just now, on my phone, I get a WhatsApp forward. The forward says, click on this link, you will get a free ticket to Hawaii. You will get a free ticket from Mumbai to Delhi, or you will go to some kind of an island, Mauritius island, something. We click on the link. That's it. That's called social engineering. So be careful in your real life also, not in official professional life. Ransomware, just now I told, so they are going to hack your system and they are going to make sure your entire organization is cannot perform unless they unlock your whole system and they say, give me this much money, $5 million, $500 million, whatever, depending upon size of the company. So unless you pay the money, you're not going to recover from that loss. A malware is a software designed to gain unauthorized access and to cause the damage to your computer. This is a well-known software, and it started long ago, like 10, 15 years ago, but it is still there. It's not gone. Insider threat is an important thing here. In cybersecurity world, even for IAM also, insider threat is really important. Insider threats are the threats that originate with authorized users. So user is authorized. User is an employee or a contractor or a business partner. So you have given some username, password, access, everything to your business partner. And the business partner got attacked, and that attack is impacting you. That is one possibility. The other possibility is you have given information to your business partner, and your business partner is jealous with your company or something wrong with that business partner, and they start misusing the access you have given. Contractor, same thing. You have a contractor, and the contractor is supposed to complete your work and go, but that contractor is not going away, and contractor is misusing. So this is where again IAM, one of the policy, comes into picture. We'll talk about it later, but contractors should have limited access, and their access has to expire. So that is important policy of the company policy. Employees also the same thing. If an employee is not happy with the company and manager, and the company is not giving him any promotion, he is expecting a promotion, then the employee start abusing this access given to that employee. So authorized users are misusing this. So who intentionally or accidentally misuse their legitimate access. If they are not supposed to misuse the legitimate access, means you have to give only that much access which is really necessary for that particular employee or a contractor, or your business partner, or have their accounts hijacked by cyber criminals. So I have given access to my employee or my contractor or my business partner, and they have saved it in a notepad, and that notepad is open on their computer, and that computer is not locked. What happens? Someone else is going to access the information, right? So that's what. Uh, Insider threat can be more difficult to detect than the external threats, because external threats means you are going to have an antivirus, you are going to choose the softwares, you are going to do every safeguard, including the firewalls and everything. But insider threats, it's really difficult to protect, because you are trusting your people and they are doing some kind of mistake, or intentionally or accidentally, right? uh, External threats because they have earmarks, authorized activity, because they are invisible, re-invisible to antivirus software. Nothing can protect them. Everyone, antivirus, firewall, everyone thinks this is a genuine request. So what are the different IAM solutions? So, so far what I was talking about is a brief introduction to cybersecurity. You might have heard all these things before. If I am repeating, then you can just ignore. But if you have heard something new, that is good today. So coming to identity and access management, the name itself tell what I'm talking about, right? So there are two different types of IAM solutions. One is God's product, commercial, off the shelf, ready to use tools. So there are so many tools provided by AWS, provided by Oracle, provided by IBM, Microsoft. There are so many companies which are providing like a comprehensive solution or a little bit of bits and pieces kind of a tool to implement the identity and access management. And the other type of cybersecurity, this IAM, is custom software. So today I'm going to talk about this custom software. So you are writing your own application, which is going to act like a identity and access management. Why I chose this topic today was I am working on identity and access management custom solution for last 3-4 years. So I thought this is an important topic for everyone to understand. Before that, uh, someone wants to know something in Hindi or Urdu. These all technical terms are in English, so it is really hard for me to translate them into Hindi or Urdu. तो अब क्या कर सकते हैं, आजकल दुनिया है ना, हर चीज इंग्लिश में ही होती है. तो दिस सेशन इज ऑलरेडी रिकॉर्डेड, तो इसकी पूरी रिकॉर्डिंग हो रही है, और आप लोग है ना सुकून से बैठ के है ना उसको फिर से एक बार सुन सकते हैं. और जब सुनते हैं तो आप क्या कर सकते हैं कि उसका कुछ ट्रांसलेशन वो कर सकते हैं. बट इंग्लिश इज एसेंशियल फॉर पीपल हु आर प्लानिंग टू वर्क इन आईटी. आईटी में जिनको काम करना है, आईटी में जो लोग अपने करियर बनाना चाहते हैं, दे हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड इंग्लिश. दैट इज द बेसिक मिनिमम थिंग, क्योंकि आजकल दुनिया है ना, इट्स ए ग्लोबल वर्ल्ड. सारी दुनिया में है ना सब लोगों को हिंदी उर्दू नहीं आती है. इवन विद इन इंडिया आल्सो साउथ इंडियंस, लॉट ऑफ पीपल डोंट नो लॉट ऑफ हिंदी, लाइक केरला एंड तमिलनाडु. तो इसलिए आप लोग है ना इंग्लिश में समझो तो अच्छी बात है, और हिंदी और उर्दू में समझना है ना तो इट्स लिटिल डिफिकल्ट. Yes, Oracle Corporation has IAM software, and I can give some links also at the end. We are using such a software. Identity and access management में क्या होता है? What happens in identity access management? Identity and access management is a framework of a business processes, policies, technologies that facilitates the management of electronic or digital identities. So this is the simple definition of identity and access management. Framework of business processes. So business processes means from the beginning I am talking about the processes and policies. जैसा अभी थोड़ी देर पहले we have discussed it, right? So we were talking about that password. How long that password has to be, how many days that password has to expire, um, what kind of special characters are really required, and whether the username is allowed or not, whether the dictionary words are allowed in the password or not. All these things are business processes or policies. Technologies में है ना, just now we were talking about the Oracle Identity Access Management, AWS Access Management, or something else. There are a lot of technologies. At the end, we can again go to technologies. If I forgot, you can remind me, right? Yeah, this recording will be posted immediately after this session on all the CGC channels, wherever you have received. ठीक है? So policies and technologies that facilitates the management of electronic digital identity. So I'm going to show some technologies at the end. I'm not going to demonstrate, but I show the list of the technologies available. You can Google also. So why identity and access management? क्यों करना है? Why we have to do this identity and access management? Because we want to avoid the risk, insider threats, pitfalls, and reduce the risk and eliminate the risk. So that is the primary reason we are doing this identity and access management. What are the components of identity and access management? It's a triple A. If you see, authentication, authorization, and audit or accounting. So authentication means any resource in your company is accessible only with username and a strong password. I did not say username and password, but username and a strong password. It's a combination. So when we say strong password, there has to be rules. In username also, there are a lot of companies have some rules. Majority of the companies are accepting your email address as a username. But in some companies, especially in professional setting, so for example, you're working for Amazon or Google or some big company, your username will be a ID, a number. So what happens is when you try to log in, username is not your name, your email address, because a lot of people know your name, a lot of people know your email address, but only few or none of this whole world knows what is your ID in the company. So for example, 105236, that is my ID, and no one knows that is my ID. So if username is also a secret, then you have little extra protection compared to just email address as a username and a regular password. So strong password is important. When you say strong password, as I mentioned before, there has to be special characters, how many number of characters, and the password rules. So one of the password rule is we are not going to allow repeated characters. We are not going to allow a dictionary keyword. We are not going to allow username as a password. We are not going to allow your own name as a password, first name or last name, right? So these things are password rules. Other password rule is your password is going to expire every 30 days. You have to keep changing it. If you don't use this for 30 days or 90 days, we are going to deactivate your password. You have to change your password. If for example, in professional companies, the password rule is if you don't use system for 90 days, we are going to deactivate your account and you cannot do anything. Password expiration, password locking, disabling, inactivating, terminating, auto deprovision, separation, transfer. All these things comes under authentication. Let's talk about one by one. So password expiration, I said within 30 days, if you don't use it, your password is expired. You have to change the password, right? Locking the system. If you don't use your system within 30 days, we are going to lock your system and you cannot access it anymore. One other lock is if you use wrong password like 3 times, we are going to lock your system for like 1 hour. After 1 hour, you can come back and do something. Or we will disable the system, you disable your account if you don't use it for 90 days. You are working in an office, the expectation is every day morning you are going to log in. You go on a vacation for 1 week, that's fine. You go on vacation for 3 months, no, it's not practical. People are not going to go to vacation for 3 months. We will disable and inactivate your account. So what happens is when you come back, you have to call the customer service or you are going to some help desk or something to activate your account because there is something wrong and some human has to come and to make it activate. Terminate means a person leaving the company. We have to terminate the account. We are not going to delete, but we are going to make it terminated. Auto deprovision means, for example, there is an election season. I am a teacher, a school teacher, and I have got access to some election commission website. Once the election is over, I'm not supposed to go and access that election commission website. So auto deprovision means you have given a privilege only for 3 days during that election process. After those 72 hours or 90 hours or something, it has to be deprovisioned. That privilege you have received, it has to be automatically gone. It's not like some human has to go there and remove it. So that is called auto deprovision. Separation means you are out of the company, you are separated from the company. So we are going to mark that account as separated. Transfer means within the company you have changed the department. For example, you are working for a auto dealership, Toyota or Tata or something. When you are working in a finance department, you have some access to finance department systems. But for some reason, you or your manager or your boss or your company decided you are not going to work for a finance department, but you are going to work for a spare parts department. So whatever the access you have in the finance department, it has to be removed. Then you have to gain new access to spare parts department softwares. So that is called transfer, transferring from one department to another department. Your roles and responsibilities have changed. Previous roles and responsibilities have to be removed and new permissions have to be given in the new department. And the previous department has to terminate whatever you have everything, and the new department has to come into picture and say, oh, this person is joining in this particular role and that person is needing access to these systems. That's what called authorization. Authorization means what are the roles, what are the permissions, which systems you are supposed to access, and whether that access is read only or write and read. Are you a supervisor? If you are a supervisor, you have access to your juniors. And if you are a supervisor, you can give roles to your juniors, subordinates. And if you are a system administrator, you have more privileges. And there are only few selected people in managerial role who can view the reports. Reports means what is happening in spare parts department. How many spare parts did we order? How much money we spent? And how much money we have in our finance department to buy the spare parts. So these reports, sales reports and all those reports are accessible only to few selected top level managerial individuals, or a supervisor can view the reports within their own department. For example, I am running a small department within the spare parts department. I want to know how many people are working in my department and what are their current responsibilities. Do I need to make some changes? Recently, someone left the company and that responsibility has to be given someone else. So that's where people can view the reports, generate the reports. And no one is supposed to see entire data. Entire organization data is not supposed to be visible to any one individual. And identity governance means you have to give a minimum possible roles to perform the job duties, right? So that's important thing in authorization. minimum possible roles, minimum permissions. So for example, I'm going to give you like 4 permissions, but you can work even with 3 permissions also. Fourth and fifth is optional. So you're not supposed to give that fourth and fifth permission if you are the supervisor. And the last A in IAM is accounting or auditing. This is another important branch of IAM where we are going to find out who is accessing, why they are accessing, do they really need that access, and how many systems and how many databases, how many database schemas they have access to, and logging the information time to time so that in future someone comes and say, show me who is accessing, you have some kind of a log, some kind of a audit. Some, it may be a text, it may be a database table, it may be something. One other important thing we are going to collect in auditing is the IP address from where people are accessing. So if the IP address is logged, we will be able to know people are accessing from within our network or outside network or something else. And here in auditing again, we are going to see who got a view access, who got an update access, and if someone is having update access by mistake, and people started updating the records, and terminating access. So who can terminate, right? So I can terminate my subordinates access, but not some other manager subordinates. So these all things under comes under auditing. Recently, we had in one of our organization, we got an email saying that why this person is logging in at this time because it is not his shift, his not duty. For example, you have a bank, and in bank there is a customer support, and in customer support, someone is supposed to log in 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. But we see in our audit someone is logging at 2 a.m. Why this person is logging in at 2 a.m., right? So that calls like a red flag, and they are going to do some kind of an investigation based on audit. If there is no audit, if there is no accounting, if there is no reporting, if there is no logging, then we don't know who is accessing, when they are accessing, and why they are accessing. There are a few more points about the identity and access management. As I said before, generating the reports. So in those reports, periodically, the top level management is going to go through the reports. For example, we are going to generate a report and send every morning. Your systems are accessible to these people. If they think, oh, why this person is having this access, they'll say, okay, we have to remove that access. So who got the access and who is doing what? So periodically, they can either go and generate the reports manually, or based on company policies, we automatically generate the report and send it by email periodically, like every day or every week or whatever it is. And in these reports, they are going to find out if the systems are all performing or not. But if some system is not performing, they have to get an alert. So that is another reporting. One other important point, as we mentioned in the beginning itself, system to system interaction. So we have a client, and my client is accessing my systems. How much access we have given to our client, whether it is a read only or read and write. And we are supposed to, for example, there is a spare part supplier in my automobile industry. That spare part supplier is accessing my financial information. That is bad. So I have to create 2 separate services. One service is for spare parts, the other service is for financial systems. And my service, which is going to perform on financial systems, is not supposed to have an access to my spare parts client. My bank is supposed to have access to my financial service, but my bank is not supposed to have an access to spare parts system. So that is important. System to system interaction means some other client, it's a software accessing our software. It's a business to business communication. It's not a customer to business communication. Level of access to other systems. So this is important. Firewalls, as we said in the beginning itself, you have to open the minimum possible firewalls, and you have to say, okay, this particular client is going to come to our systems through this particular IP address, and this is the port number. And that is only thing allowed. Everything else we block. Track and audit the transactions with other partners. So auditing is not just internal, but external also. So when audit happens, we have to have audit means it's like a trail. We are going to save the data in the database table where we are going to say this person was accessing, this system was accessing, this particular resource they were accessing, they modified this, they accessed this, they read this, someone logged in, someone logged out, everything we log in a database table, and we call it as an audit table. And the last thing is controlling and sharing of data with other partners. So how much data you are going to share, there has to be a control. I think I'm done here, but there are some questions on the chat. Let me read through that. In teams of Java application, while creating a REST application without using Spring Security, it's waste because it won't provide authorization or security. 99% correct. There may be some systems where they are not going to use the Spring Security, but still they have some kind of a logging, auditing, authorizing mechanism. But nowadays, majority of the latest softwares being built, because there may be some software built in 1985, and if the company don't want to upgrade, no one can do anything. But still they want to do some security, so they might add some kind of a bells and whistles to protect their systems. But modern systems, whatever we are building these days in 2023, 24, maybe 2020, majority of the Java applications are using Spring Security. If you are not using Java, there may be some other ways to secure in their own software. For example, someone is using Python, someone is using .NET. So every system has their own way of protecting. But if you have a Java application, then Spring Security is the latest software. And most of the new companies who are developing their applications in Java, they are using Spring Security. Yes. At the last, can you give some advices for new scams, which scammers are using AI, other tools to scam innocent people or else anybody? How we identify the AI using scammers? See, scammers means there is a genius guy. I have to appreciate their hard work. I cannot simply say they are the idiots. They are the smart people. They always come up with a new way of fooling us. If it is a government system, for example, government says all the what we call Aadhaar cards have to be saved, and no one is supposed to use the Aadhaar card. They come up with some system. The system will be broken by some genius. Then the government comes up with another new system to protect the data. Then new another genius guy will come and break it. So this is a cycle. It always happens. No one can say this is the end, this is the best, this is the ultimate. No, there is no ultimate. Every day there has to be improvements, there has to be research. So it is going, the cycle is going to continue, and going forward, more and more sophisticated systems are coming. As we discussed in last our few meetings, uh, IoT is coming these days, Internet of Things. So for example, I have a garage door opener in my home, and the garage door opener can be hacked, and someone can become an intruder and they can enter into my home. So I have to do the safeguards, some extra protection. Every people these days are using, oh, hey Siri, can you dial this number? Hey Siri, can you open my this? Hey Siri, can you order my sandwich? And all these things can be hacked. And the hackers are so smart, they are working day and night to hack our systems. But definitely you have to do your due diligence when you are clicking any link, when you receive any text message, when you receive a phone call. You have to be a little careful. For example, someone is calling me and saying that your son wants to talk to you, and on the other side we have a artificially intelligence AI generated voice which looks like my son's voice. Best thing what I can do is, if my son has a phone, you just disconnect the call, within 5 minutes, call back to your son's phone number. That is one way. If your son's phone is stolen, you can try some other means, like maybe you can send an email, maybe you can wait for your son to come home and confirm, because you are making a big decision based on one phone call. So those are the extra protections we have to do based on our intelligence.